what's up guys? Nick here again, here today with Kyle and Antonio, or Cougar49 for those of you who know him.
Hi! Hello.
What the fuck was that? Your voice cracked.
Whose voice?
Kyle's. His voice cracked.
Shut up, that didn't happen, move on.
Sure. It's not like it's on video or anything. Shoo, no.
So we're talking about a Strider, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, alright, today we're here to cover the Limit Break format, or the Lane Choker format for pretty much the anime viewers.
Break Ride feature. The
Break Ride format.
Oh, okay, well, whatever. Alright, so the Break Ride format. So just a quick recap on yesterday's video. Limit Break, in order for it to be active, you need to complete all the conditions required for your Vanguard, as well as have 4 damage in your damage zone, or have a Limit Break Enabler. A Limit Break Enabler being a grade 1 unit that says your Vanguard can use Limit Break with 3 or less damage.
Or Limit Break requires upon the number of damage that it says on the Limit Break number. Limit Break 4 or 5. When it comes down to looking at Glory Maelstrom, Blunt, Ezel, what's it called?
Platina.
Ezel, and the Blood. Vermilion
Exactly. I like Vermilion the Blood. He's a pretty card too. Alright, so today we are going to be showing off the video with Kagero. As you can see, I have my Dragonic Overlord the End mat, like every other video, but I think it works better today. Alright, so Break Ride. There's a lot of people out there that don't understand, but a Break Ride is a limit break. So unless you have those 4 damage, or 5, or that enabler, you must have 4 damage for it to be a Break Ride and get that skill off. Now, Dragonic Overlord. His skill states, Limit Break 4. When a Kagero rides this unit, that indicates it's a Break Ride. Choose your Vanguard, and until the end of that turn, that unit gets power plus 10,000. And auto, Counterblast 1, choose 1 Kagero from your hand, discard it. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked your rearguard, you may pay the cost. If you do stand this unit, this ability cannot be used for the rest of the turn.
You should have used another type of Break Ride besides one that has the same name of a Generation 1 unit.
Yeah,
It'll confuse some others, but anyways.
Going off of what Antonio is saying, he's saying this because Dragonic Overlord, this one's actually I would say a reboot of him, because the original Dragonic Overlord did not have a Limit Break or Break Ride ability. But they redid him for the Lane Choker, the Break Ride era. I mean, I think mainly just for Kai, since because of Rebirth, they wanted, hey, why not give him a Break Ride? I mean, they did the same thing, well, they technically did the same thing with Gancelot, but just brought him into a new clan. Alright, so we have all the requirements necessary for Dragonic Overlord to be the Break Ride. So I'm going to Break Ride into Dragonic Overlord the Rebirth and get that power up effect right there. Now, while this is a Break Ride, just a little note, this is also a Cross Break Ride. If you remember from yesterday's video what a Cross Ride was, Cross Break Ride is one when the unit that you're riding on top of has a Break Ride, as well as the Cross being its Dragonic Overlord, has a continuous effect. Now,
I could pitch in here real quick.
Alright, please, by all means.
All Break Rides, if no one knows, each and every single Break Ride that you ride over will give you 10,000 power. And some others will give you a certain type of skill for the Vanguard that will, ride over, or others will just say, do a certain amount of things, or do other things with your opponent's board, depending on the Break Ride or planet you're using.
Exactly, going further onto that, like, as we saw with Dragonic Overlord, his Break Ride not only gave 10,000 power, but a continuous skill. Or, if you're using Narukami, Eradicator Ignition Dragon has the ability where if you counterblast one, you gain 10,000 power and you get to retire 2 of your opponent's units.
I believe your opponent selects.
Well, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Narukami is mostly your opponent selects, so yes, your opponent selects.
Yeah, you're right. Alright, so now, right where we're at, right now we have that 10,000 power as well as all these units. Well, and you kind of see something weird about the Rebirth. You see how it has the R reversed. In the Lane Joker era, it introduced Lane Joker and reversed units. Lane Joker having the ability to lock your opponent's units, the reversed having the ability to lock their own units to unlock further powers. So, right now, say we have the full field in front of us. The Rebirth would attack one of her rear guards to activate Overlord's Cross Break Ride ability. I counterblast 1, discard 1, and he restands. So, now, this is where I like Rebirth. He gets to... Well, let's read the ability so that no one gets lost. Limit Break 4. If the number of locked cards you have is 5 or more, until the end of this turn, this unit gets power plus 10,000, and Auto 5. Choose 2 Auto Vanguard. Choose 2 Kagero from your hand, discard them. At the end of the battle, if this unit attacked a Vanguard, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand this unit. This ability cannot be used for the rest of the turn. So all you gotta do is counterblast 1 and lock 5 of your units. Note, you cannot lock your units unless you have an ability that says otherwise or your opponent has an ability that says otherwise. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lock all our units. If I remember correctly, yes, that's the right thing. Alright, these are locked, so I am unable to use them, and they are basically not there, and just taking up space.
The zones don't exist and exist at the same time, meaning if I would have to bring up a ruling for, what's it called? What's the new Narukami, not the new Narukami card, I'm sorry. The Narukami card that says it gains 1,000 or 2,000 for each empty zone.
Oh, Conquest?
Oh, Tempest Bolt.
Tempest Bolt, yeah. Those spots will not activate for him.
Right.
Yeah, because technically the spots cannot be used, but they're still there, but they're occupied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so now I've restowed. Let me do the first initial twin drive. So let's ignore that as a trigger, just for the sake of the video. Alright, so now I have the ability to attack the Vanguard. So I get a critical trigger and a rebirth. Now, thanks to the ability, since I have 5 units locked, I get to counterblast 1. I get to discard 2 cards and restand, keeping the initial power and the extra power from both triggers. Both incredibly helpful things when you're using Rebirth. Now, let's attack again. First check, second check, and then another critical trigger.
Here's another thing that you could bring up. If you drive check a skill trigger, you get the lock effect has already been used. You will not lose set effects of your limit break, for they are already been activated and they are locked in place.
You know, that is a very good thing to bring up, because I'm pretty sure that might have caused a couple confusions. Thank you. Alright, so now we've attacked 3 times with the Vanguard. Doing so tends to really deplete your opponent's hand, which is, I think, one of Rebirth's better points.
Especially upon the turn that it rides onto Dragonical Overlord Break Ride.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry, what?
And And I think the only real downfall that for the break ride format is that most people will let themselves be brought down to 4 damage simply so they can use either the break ride, limit break, and just limit break in general.
For most
Yeah,
things, sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
One tip that I have learned while card fighting is that you should never rush to limit break. Play slow if you need to, because the slower and the more time you elapse, the longer you can actually last, surprisingly.
Very true.
I forgot what I was going to say, so you guys just continue.
Sorry.
It happens. But no, what Kyle's saying is incredibly correct, just because a lot of people that will let themselves rush to 4 damage could end up wasting chances that they could have had if they had just taken it slower. Now, as far as everything else goes, I think we might have just covered it for the break rate format. Unless there's anything you guys want to throw in real quick.
Oh yeah, and then end of the turn, everything unlocks.
Yes, that is true.
No. Not at the end of the turn. You'll confuse everyone at that point. At the end of the owner of the card that has
End of the owner's
Right.
turn. That's what I meant.
So, I have locked my units, so at the end of my turn they unlock. But now, if I was fighting Link Joker and they locked my units at the end of their turn.
No.
No, end of the owners of that card, of the locked card's turn.
So, say if I were to play you with Link Joker right now, and I lock your units as you have right now. At the end of your turn is when your units unlock. Okay? And the other thing is here, now if I have to bring it back up again, with Dragonic Overlord's skill, say if you were facing Link Joker as it is anyways, your opponent locks 2 units, I believe you can still use his reverse skill to lock up to 5 anyways, so his skill would still go off.
Yeah, it's an up to skill, so it means you can do the
Right.
maximum or lower.
Alright, so instead I could have just locked, say, just my back row, and just left the 2 rear guards in front. This way I would have had... Actually, no, I would have had the same amount of attacks, regardless.
Yes, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Is that it for today?
There should be a little bit more to it, I think, when it comes to Link Joker, but...
Well, as far as Link Joker goes, they have...
I mean, you guys only talk about the format era of the break ride, so I will believe that's more than enough when it comes just to the era itself.
Yeah,
But if you want to talk about clans, then that's a different story.
yeah, that's going to be for another video for another day.
Yeah.
But no, I think we've covered a quick recap on Limit Break. We discussed the break ride being a limit break, so to clear any amount of confusion that could have been or could happen for players, cross break ride and locking. The only other thing I can think of is just a small thing. Unlocking is that there are such thing is the Omega Lock.
We could bring up Omega Lock, and for one thing, if you didn't recover how cross rides work in the first format, or in first gen format.
No, we discussed cross rides in the second format.
On the second format, there was, but second format wasn't the first time it was introduced.
No, you're right. You're right. It was introduced in the first format, if we go through anime-wise, when Kai was fighting Ren.
Or set-wise.
Not true.
But yeah, because set 6 is when everything started to get introduced. As for set 5, where cross rides were a thing, the limit break never existed.
Very true. I mean, we used it mainly because we were showing the limit break format through Ezel, so we kind of use it for Platina.
I gotcha.
So should we discuss Omega Lock or leave that for video?
Oh, wait. We can do Omega Lock real quick, because the only one who has any stripe, I'm sorry, in Break Ride format, the only one who has a Limit Break 5 is the only one, which is Glendios. But Omega Lock is basically saying if a unit is locked, it does not unlock until the owner's next end phase. So meaning, if I were to lock your card and then Omega Lock with Glendios skill, you will not be able to unlock at the end of your turn, but the next end turn.
So rather than them being locked for just one turn, they are locked for 2 turns.
Yes, so if you're using Rebirth against Glendios, and Glendios is a 5 damage, for the love of God, do not use your Rebirth skill, because you will lose. But that is basically saying, if he were to lock his own units for his skill to restand, and Glendios is the opposing unit, Glendios' Omega Lock skill will still be in effect if you use the turn that the player had on that turn. So, meaning if you lock the remaining cards you had on board, your cards are now then Omega locked, and then your cards will not unlock at the end of your turn. And then your opponent will have the upper hand of having your cards all locked.
Oh, I never even thought of that. That is awesome. Well, I think that covers it for today. I hope you guys all enjoyed the videos. Or
And
today's
speaking
video.
of Omega Locks, please remember to always have your daily Glendios.
Oh my god, you had to. Oh, now that that's out of our system. See you guys tomorrow where we'll be discussing Legion.
Later.
Have a nice
Goodbye.
day.